Current takes the finals. Oh, it's absolute scenes here in the British Pokemon League. Oh my god! Wait! Bonga, baby! No! Fisher lands again! Fisher picks up again!
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the British Pokemon League show. We are here and it is week numero 9. We are 2 weeks away from the end of the season. Still a couple of weeks away off from playoffs, but 2 weeks away from the end of the season. And oh boy, do we have one hell of a show for you today. There's still so much left to be decided. This is going to be the craziest end to a season we've had thus far, I am telling you now. So make sure you stay tuned, make sure you keep watching week by week before we get to the end of the season. It's going to be a blast. Let me just tell you that. So, let's get into the league table before we kick off things with the schedule. Sat at the top of the British Pokemon League. We say this every week. It's just a sort of regular thing. You have to come to expect it now. Inglorious Surfers sat there in first place. Closely followed now by Space City PC. So me having yet another win last week. Really putting in the work. And just having a great season here in the TBPL. In third place is the South Croydon Saws, getting themselves back to winning ways against Oma's California Bastiodons last week, so that's always nice to see. Hopefully, can get on a little bit of a winning run now as they head towards playoffs. A couple of teams now confirmed for playoffs as well, which is always nice to see. In fourth place, it is Silver's Tyrant, so having a little bit of a drop off of form recently. That loss against City is gonna always kind of sting. But still plenty of time to bounce it back and still looking pretty damn strong for making playoffs. In fifth place there is the Wobbuffet Ninjas on one hell of a winning streak at the moment. 4 wins in a row. Can they be stopped? We will certainly find out this week. In sixth place, it is the Long Island Gummies, as we just mentioned, getting that all-important win over the Tyrants. I'm going to just change the song, by the way, guys. That is, horrendous. Down there in seventh place is Newcastle Thunderers, of course, losing out in that local derby match versus the aforementioned Wobbuffet Ninjas last week. So they'll, of course, be looking to bounce back and get themselves back to winning ways. Scuba Swells back into the playoff positions. In there in 8th place, moving just above Dogsy Shadow Kings, do a little bit of a position swap. That is going to be awfully close as we move in towards the end of the season. Those final 2 playoff spots are going to be very hotly contested. And honestly, it's anyone's guess who's going to finish in those final 2 spots. Then, furrowing up the bottom of the table, we've got the Swindon Rookidees, California Bastiodons, and the Knights of Cydonia. All 3 teams still in with a shout of making playoffs, but it's getting very, very dicey now. As you get towards the end of the season, those guys have got to start pulling out the wins and start hoping the results go their way, or it is going to be goodbye to some guys we've had for a little while now, especially the likes of the Shadow Kings being here since season 1. So we'll see what happens there. But let's take a quick look at the schedule, and we will be kicking things off with an absolutely humongous match. It is the Swindon Rookidees taking on the Knights of Cydonia. If Jabba's Knights of Cydonia lose this match, they are the first team to the British Pokemon League Championship for next season. So they will be relegated if they can't win here. He's got a hell of a lot. To do to still make playoffs at this point. Got to win all of his 3 remaining matches, including this one, and hope that other results go his way. It's a lot to still be decided, but Jabba could potentially do it. In the second game of the week, it is the Big Dog Derby. It is Shadow Kings taking on Newcastle Thunderers, so another bit of a relegation scrap there. Dave just sort of teetering on the edge of that relegation zone, and Dogsy, also just slightly in there, just behind Niels down there in 9th place. So that ought to be a huge match. These two have faced off against each other multiple times as well. So it's going to be exciting to see that one. Third match of the week is going to be the Long Island Gummies versus the California Bastiodons. Silly on one hell of a run of form as of recent. That Xerneas looking almost impossible to stop. Can Oma and his Steel team be the team to do it though? it's a possibility. You know, that might be might be what needs to topple the giant. We'll certainly see. Next up, we have got the Wobbuffet Ninjas versus Space City PC. Both of these guys on one hell of a run at the moment. Me and Space City PC on a 3-game winning streak. The Ninjas on a 4-game winning streak. So it is a streak to end all streaks. One of these guys is going to be the streak breaker. One of them is going to continue. We'll see how that one goes. Then we have got Inglorious Surface versus Scuba Squirtles. It is 1st versus 8th. So Aaron, with this one, you know, he's already confirmed for playoffs, can get another win on his way to looking to secure the regular season winners title. And Neil's the Scuba Squirtles, you know, need to somehow pull off the victory here and get their win and just sort of guarantee that that 8th place, or at least make it more solid. Just to, you know, give themselves that breathing room between that relegation spot. And the final game of the week, it is the Tyrannita Tyrants taking on the South Croydon Saws. Silver looking to get himself back to winning ways. They've got to stop the behemoth that is South Croydon Saws from continuing their winning streak and marching on towards, you know, a top 3, top 4 finish. So, as we said at the start of the show, lots still to be decided. You know, a couple of teams are confirmed for playoffs as of right now, but right below is where all the action's happening, especially down the relegation zone. So stick with us in the next couple of weeks. It's going to be an exciting end of the season. And speaking of the bottom of the league, it is Swindon Rookidees taking on nice Cydonia to kick off the show, as we mentioned earlier. Jabba is on one hell of a lose streak right now. There's 7 losses in a row. You know, can he stop the rot in this one is the question on everyone's minds. And I mean, if he can't, then that is his season over and done with, which is pretty unfortunate to see. You know, you know, Jabba made a really, really solid start of the season, as he did last season. It just kind of tapered off and just hasn't really went for him. So, you know, that's not to say that he's completely out of it yet. He's still in it to win it. There's still a chance. And, you know, he's got a very strong and bulky team to work with as well. You know, has got the Mega Camera, which, you know, if set up in Trick Room, can really do some big work here. Of course, he's got to watch out because there's a lot of Draco's mons that work pretty well in Trick Room. That Melmoth especially, you've got to be very afraid of. But of course, that Mega Camera is going to have that Melmetal's number for sure. And Lugia as well. You know, Lugia with that multi-scale ability is super, super bulky to try and deal with. You know, you've got to break that multi-scale before you can even think about dealing with it. And, you know, the big hitters into that mon are going to be the likes of the Yveltal, you know, the Gyarados. And the Gyarados kind of matches up pretty well, but if that Lugia gets a calm mind off, it might start to become a bit difficult for that Yveltal to start taking it down. In recent weeks, we've also seen as well that Xurkitree be used pretty well by Jabba. You know, the Choice Scarf, I think, has caught a few people off with that thing. You know, he can use Electro Web on it to try and slow people down, or, you know, if he needs to pivot out real quick, has got the Volt Switch option on there as well. And of course, we mentioned a few of the Trick Room options on that Jabba's team as well. The other one being Escavalier and Azumarill. You know, Azumarill also has that priority move, Aqua Jet, but wants to try and avoid Aqua Jetting while Maractus is kicking around like he did last week. You know, and speaking of Maractus, you know, it gives him a very good option to sit next to the Mega Camera T, but does need to be careful because that Mega Gyarados' ability is Mold Breaker. Of course, he's going to completely ignore that Storm Drain on the Maractus and hit right into his big Lava Camel, and that won't be good for anyone. Especially not Jabba. The Torracat as well could be very good here, you know, just to provide that fake out pressure and of course Intim pressure as well. Gets pretty much all the same moves that Incin does, so you know you've got your likes of your parting shot and things, so can be a really good sort of pivot tool as well. And Klefki as well, you know, with those, you know, it's a Pranksumon, it does lots of more things, but I think Klefki is, you know, such a key screen setter that, you know, is always something to watch out for. Over on Draco, seeing that, as you mentioned about that Mega Gyarados, you know, one thing that's really great about that Mega Gyarados and for Megas, it does get an Intimoff, which is going to sort of nullify some of those physical attackers on Jabba's team, such as the Escavalier and, you know, something like the Salamence as well, unless Jabba chooses to bring a special build. Something like the Volcarona with the Rage Powder and Mimikyu to set up Trick Room here could be really, really strong. Also, Mimikyu with its Disguise could even go along the lines of, you know, trying to redirect and get a Sword Stance off and let Mimikyu really put in the work. You know, this thing has already got something like, you know, 11 kills so far, so it's been really strong since Draco picked it up in the mid-season trade window, so definitely something to watch out for. And of course, you know, that Yveltal is so strong in a lot of Jabba's mons here. You know, it's got Heat Wave and things, and Dual Wing Beat to deal with something like the Maractus. Heat Wave can deal with the Klefki, Escavalier, and the Jirachi. You know, and with it being a spread move, Jirachi's follow me is not going to even matter at that point. And of course, you know, he's got Melmetal, which is, you know, another stout trick room mon that can really sort of do the work. With this Iron Fist ability, those punch moves are going to really, really hit hard. And very, very bulky is Melmetal, as we know, was on my team earlier. But I'm going to stop my rambling. Let's get right in this one. It is the Swindon Rookidees taking on Knights of Cydonia. And as you can see there, Draco kicking things off with the Yveltal and the Gyarados has got Mimikyu, Volcarona, Mr. Mime and Quagsire in the back. Jabba leading the line with the Mudsdale, and the Xurkitree has a Azumarill, Maractus, Lugia and a Mega Camerupt in the back as well. So the Megas both have come, whether Jabba's going to bring this first game in the back, we shall certainly see, but Xurkitree is likely going to be with that Choice Scarf. That Intim can be pretty big to the Mudsdale as well, pretty strong physical attacker, but Draco got to be careful when hitting that with a physical attack if it is stamina. You know, you don't want to bulk that thing's special defense, you don't want to bulk its defense up too hard, and it starts to become a little bit difficult to deal with, especially with those body presses. You know, the Mega Gyarados, once it Megas, does come Dark type, so can be a bit of a problem to deal with. There's the Gyarados going for its Mega. Discharge comes out from the Xurkitree and calls him Mudsdale new, but it is going to get the power on the Mega Gyarados. There's the Dark Pulse from the Yveltal, which Xurkitree does manage to hang on body press into that Yveltal, and the Xurkitree taken out by the Waterfall as well, so advantage to Draco in this first one. It's a good turn on Jabba's part as well, to be fair. You know, he has lost him on, but he's got some big damage off there, and the power on the Mega Gyarados is really important. Now in comes the Maractus then, so is Draco going to reveal that, you know, that Mold Breaker straight away? You know, is Jabba going to have read that? We shall certainly see. We'll see if he procs it. That Mudsdale is of course going to be weak to water type, but you know, we have seen Mega Gyarados running that Ice Fang. We did say Yveltal does have access to dual wind beats, so it might be something he goes for onto the Maractus, you know, just to sort of break that sash. Typically Jabba has been running the sash on the Maractus in recent weeks. May look to change things up, but we'll certainly find out this time. Just going off past experience. As you can see there, Draco is lining up that Ice Fang as well. Could we have a double in here to the Maractus? Maybe just choosing to ignore that Mudsdale without having the attack drop. You know, body press is going to do some good work into that Mega Gyarados, so Draco does need to be careful. There is the helping hand from Maractus. Oblivion Wind comes out and it takes out the Maractus, so no focus sash. Maractus goes straight down, and there's the body press to take out the Mega Gyarados. So gets a revenge kill on the Mega Gyarados, but now down to just his last two mons is Jabba, and you know, Draco gets his Yveltal right back up to near full HP, so that's a great turn on Draco's side as well. Had to test the waters that Oblivion Wing just to see if it was focus sash, and no sash there, so you know, pretty much a simple kill there. The Maractus was never living the Oblivion Wing from Yveltal, let me tell you that one. And in comes the Lugia for Jabba then, so gotta be careful here. You know, that Lugia, as we said earlier, with that multi-scale, can be a bit of a problem. But what has it really got to take out the Yveltal or the Mimikyu here? You know, he's got to try to look to break the disguise on the Mimikyu for sure. You know, potentially going for an Aeroblast in the Yveltal just to try and get some big damage off. Could be the way to go. We usually see Jabba go for a Calm Mind first turn, but Lugia comes out just to try and get it set up. Sword Stance does come out from the Mimikyu down there. Is the Aeroblast, gets a critical hit on the Yveltal as well, but Dark Pulse is going to knock that Lugia down and procs the weakness policy as well. There's a Rock Slide from the Mudsdale that's going to get a little bit of chip damage away to the Yveltal and drops its speed as well. That Mimikyu now on 2 items attack, Lugia on 2 times special attack. Has got to go for a big hit move here and try and take that Lugia. That Yveltal is going to have speed control over that Lugia as well, so Jabba maybe could look to preserve the Lugia if he's running to protect. Go for some damage on the Mudsdale. We usually see heavy slam on that Mudsdale, so at least try and break the disguise. Now he knows that the Yveltal is going to be faster. Draco may look to utilise Shadow Sneak here on the Lugia. Whether it would do enough damage, I'm not too sure. With that 2 times attack boost, potentially would do enough. Let's see. Shadow Sneak, it doesn't quite take out the Lugia, but it isn't going to matter. There's the Tailwind though from Lugia. high horsepower is going to break the disguise on that Mimikyu, but now your Veltor is going to just be able to get the kill easily on Lugia, and Lugia goes down, and now it's all up to Mudsdale. Draco looks to have this one in the bag. It is a 1v3, and Mudsdale with it all to do now, facing down a 2x attack Mimikyu, and a pretty strong, beefy looking Yveltal as well. This one looks pretty much over. I think Draco's going to take the lead in this one for sure. Jabba just not able to get off. Made a pretty reasonably good start as well once he got the discharge off, but just not able to capitalise on it. I think maybe going for the attack with the Lugia there may have been the better play. But I could see why he was trying to go for that, try and get the speed control. Does put the stamina on the Mudsdale. There's the Earthquake. It's going to do some good damage with it. And Mimikyu, the Oblivion Wing's going to finish it off, and Draco takes the lead in this one to go 1-0 up. And now Jabba's got it all an absolute mountain to climb in this game to try and keep him in it and try and keep his TBPL playoff dreams alive. He's fighting for survival here. Can he bring it back in this game number 2? So Draco choosing to stick with his guns, leads the line with the Mega Gyarados and the Yveltal, and Jabba switching things up and go for the Azumarill and the Xurkitree then. So keeping the Xurkitree out, but it goes for Azumarill this time. And they're trying to go for that fairy type damage on the Yveltal or the Gyarados. You know, either or, to be honest, is going to work real good. Got to be careful if that is physical Azumarill though, because his attack has been dropped. Mega Gyarados goes for it. Mega, of course, there's a Mulberg. Electro Web comes out. Does drop the speed of the Mega Gyarados. There's the Dapples. Is not going to, of course, take out the Xurkitree. But Belly Drum comes out from the Azumarill. So it is physical Azumarill, but and procs the Citrus Berry as well. And that is now 4 times attack Azumarill. So Xurkitree is going to go down to that waterfall. But that Azumarill really needs to get dealt with pronto. In comes the Maractus. Now, Draco got some very important information in that game 1. Found out the Maractus wasn't Sash. So knows that the Oblivion Wing is going to be enough to take out the Maractus. But, you know, definitely can't ignore the Azumarill with it being 4 times attack. Draco's still not revealing, you know, waiting to. We would think that Jabba is going to know that is Mold Breaker, but it'd be interesting to see if he has worked it out yet. Just in case that Mega Camerupt is in the back. It doesn't look to be honest, but maybe he's brought it this time. Try and get some big damage off. Definitely expect to double into his Azumarill just to make sure that Draco takes care of it, so you don't want that Azumarill start wrecking house. Interesting play with the belly drum there from Jabba. I do respect it, changing things up. There's a helping hand comes out from the Maractus. The Oblivion Wing, it's going to get some good damage with Azumarill. There is the play rough. It's going to take out the Yveltal, so great kill there. And there is the crunch, and it's not going to get rid of the Azumarill. So Azumarill only just hanging on 10%. And now in comes the Mimikyu then, so Jabba has got to go for just two lines of attack here, to be honest. You know, it's got to break that disguise on the Mimikyu, or it's going to be able to definitely get the kill on Azumarill, but also could go for the Shadow Sneak straight off the bat here, just take everything. Now in comes the Mega Camerupt, and there is the Shadow Sneak to clear the Azumarill, so it's now a 2v2. There's the Ice Fan into Mega Camerupt, gets the freeze as well. That's a huge freeze on that Mega Camerupt. And now in comes the Maractus. Is this it then? Camerupt presumably going to go down to this Mega Gyarados here, and Maractus has it all to do against the Mega Gyarados and the Mimikyu. This is Jabba's TBPL Premier League life on the line. There is the Mega, it is of course still frozen. Sword Stance comes out from the Mimikyu. There is the Drain Punch into the Mega Gyarados, no quite enough, and Waterfall is going to take out Camerupt. And oh no, it's all up to Maractus now. It's another 1v3, and this looks to be a game. Jabba's TBPL life about to end right here. Draco's going to keep himself fighting another day to make playoffs, but Jabba though says goodbye to playoffs for a second season in a row. And that is that. So very sad to see, but you know, I really thought Azumarill was going to be able to get, you know, the job done there once it got for the belly drum. Just not able to quite finish off. The Shadow Sneak on the Mimikyu proving to be too strong. Goes for the Sword Stance again on the on the Mimikyu, and Ice Fang gonna get some good damage away at the Maractus. And this one definitely over the Mimikyu, about to take care of this Maractus, even if he's able to get the Mega Gyarados gun. As we said, Draco lives to fight yet another day. His dream of playoffs still hanging on. Jabba. We'll see you in the British Pokemon League Championship next season. Our first confirmed team for the second division. He tried. He definitely tried. The Shadow Sneak takes care of it, and Draco gets the job done with a quick 2-0 over Jabba. GG's to both guys. That was a fun one to watch. I really thought that game 2, that Azumarill was positioned really well to sort of get some big damage in. I don't think anyone would have expected the belly drum there from the Azumarill. You know, I was kind of maybe expecting a Parrot Song even, but Draco gets the job done. And, you know, I said lives to fight another day, but commiseration to Jabba. You know, he's just not being able to stop the rot. It happens, you know. And I'm sure we'll see him bounce back next season and try and get himself back up. But on to our next game then. It is Shadow Kings taking on the Newcastle Thunderous. And these two have, as we can see, have faced off quite a few times. for sure. 5 times these guys have come head to head. Dave taking the advantage into this one. Got the 2 wins in Season 1 and the 1 win in Season 2. And Dogsy winning out in playoffs in Season 1 and getting the win in the first game of last season. But, you know, both these guys came incredibly close to getting wins last week. You know, Dogsy is going to fight for his right for RNG gate against Aaron last week for sure. It was a really close game. You've got to admit, you know, Dogsy pushed him all the way in that second game for sure. The Instruct on Oranguru proving to be really, really strong once he got Trick Room up. You know, I think you can look to do pretty much the same thing here again against Dave. But one thing you've got to be careful of course, just like the last game, Dave's team does work pretty much in and out of both different speeds. You know, the Mega Banette there as well is also a Trick Room set, so Dave may even look to sort of reverse the Trick Room. Dialga with the Trick Room as well, so it's got a few different options there. And Dogsy potentially could just go for all-out speed. Of course, it's got the Prankster Illumies, can get Tailwind up, and it's got access to reset the weather as well. There doesn't need a weather setter on his team. It's got the Sunny Day and Rain Dance on that Illumies, both options. You know, which can work really well in his favour, especially against something like that Ferrothorn. You know, with his 4 times fire weakness, setting up Sunny Day and bringing in that Camerupt to get eruptions off is going to do big damage. You know, we haven't seen too much of Mega Kanga in recent weeks. You know, Dogsy going for a little bit of a different direction, leaving the Mega Kanga home, but could look to bring it here just to try and, you know, get that fake out pressure off and, you know, stop Dave from potentially going for those status moves or trying for those stat drops. Just try and slow Dogsy down, play out that stall game. Dogsy may look to sort of just go on the hyper offense. Of course, Ditto as well, always going to be an important one here. You know, if you can get a copy on something like the Incin, or, you know, on one of the really strong special attackers like, you know, your Lele, your Vikavolt, or Dialga, then you know, you've essentially got, you know, especially with copies of Dialga, you've essentially got 2 legendaries on your team alongside that Necrozma. Of course, got to give special mention to Necrozma. That thing with Meteor Beam has been really putting in the work week in, week out. I think, as in my opinion, is the MVP on Dogsy's team. I always say it every week, I underrated this thing at the start of the season, and he's completely proven me wrong. So I do hold my hands up to that one. But yeah, Necrozma is a really good option here. You know, as we saw last week, you know, the Meteor Beams into things like that Incin proven to be really strong. You know, and works really well into that Vikavolt as well. We've seen him run the Heat Wave and Fort on Geyser as well. Not the Fort on Geyser here would be too big, but, you know, something like the Heat Wave, again, to deal with the Vikavolt, deal with the Ferrothorn, can be really important, especially with that Sun Up. Over on Dave's side as well, that Mega Banette, just like the Illumies, has access to the weathers as well, with it being Prankster once it goes for its Mega. So you know, this would definitely turn into a bit of weather wars. You know, Dogsy having that Swiss on the bear tick as well is always going to be something on Dave's mind. Just sort of how each team works in weathers is really interesting to see. You know, there's mons on Dave's team that benefit from the rain and benefit from the sun, and vice versa on Dogsy's team as well. So this one is going to be a really close one. It's always a fun one in the Big Dog Derby. The only Big Dog Derby you get is in the TBPL, and it is the best one by far. So without further ado, let's get right into this one. It is the Shadow Kings taking on the Newcastle Thunderous, and Dave has brought the Mega Burnets as Mega Burnet, Suicune, Ferrophon, Vikavolt, Lantern, and Tapadilla, and on Dogsy's side is the Oranguru, Camerupt, the Mega Kanga, Illumis, Gastrodon, and the Necrozma then. So, you know, a few water types there on Dave's team, so you're going to have to be careful, you know, minding that Gastrodon with its Storm Drain ability. You know, just like the last game we watched with Jabba, you know, although it didn't work because of Mullbreaker, that Maractus paired with that Camerupt can be really, really strong because, you know, with it having such a strong water weakness. So potentially if there's any sort of water spread moves on Dave's side, could be good for dealing this Camerupt. And Gastrodon is going to switch in then, and there's the Burnet goes for its Mega. Ally Switch comes out, and the Scald is going to get straight away absorbed by that Gastrodon Storm Drain. Camerupt can be free to go for that Air Power. So really good Ally Switch there from Dave, making the good read, seeing that he might go to take out that Lantern, and Burnet just swallows that damage up and frees up Lantern to get some more damage in this turn. But definitely got to be careful here, because if that's its only water move, it's going to be kind of locked as the Shadow Claw comes out from the Mega Burnet. That gets some really good damage, and Eerie Impulse is going to drop the special attack on that Gastrodon. Injure Power as well, not getting the stat boost on the Gastrodon, but get some good little chip damage away at Lantern. And Eruption doing a little, not as much damage as you would have hoped, you know, with that Camerupt not being down to half HP. Eruption solely relying on Amon's HP, not getting the damage you wanted there, but you know, it's chip damage, it all matters, it all counts. Rain Dance comes out from that Burnet, then there's the Lantern going for the stockpile, then as Inch Power into the Mega Burnet does get the critical hit, and Air Power gets a critical hit as well, and that takes out the Mega Burnet. So Dave's Rain Setter is gone, his Mega is down, but Lantern's starting to set up with those stockpiles, and now in comes the Ferrophon then. So Dogsy going to have to try and sort of play a bit of switcheroo, a bit of pivoting to try and get that Illumis in if he has brought it to reset the weather. Or potentially got to try and stall out this rain, but at the same time, you know, while the gas runs around, that Lantern's a little bit stuck because the Oranguru does switch in though. We did see Oranguru running Sunny Day last week against Aaron, so you know, could look to go for that and not necessarily needing the Prankster Illumis here. Yeah, Crit City is our next stop for sure. Lantern getting stronger and stronger here with its special defense and defense going up and up. So that Lantern's starting to become a little bit of a problem if Dogsy doesn't deal with it pretty soon. You know, it's can always go for a switch in here, just trying to make the read on the Scalds. As Camerupt does switch out, as now in comes the Necrozma. There is the Scalds, and Necrozma does eat that up even in the sun. Now here comes the Sunny Day, resets the weather, body press, you know, being resisted by the Necrozma Elite Shield, you know, getting some damage away from Oranguru, but now Dave has no way of resetting the weather, and Dogsy with that sun up, Necrozma can potentially go for a heat wave here, or may just look to go straight for the Meaty Beam just to buff his special attack up straight off the bat and try and take out the Ferrophon. It does heat wave, does come out, Lantern resists, but the Ferrophon with the Orca Berry then does eat up that attack, and Eerie Impulse comes out of that Lantern. Now as Instruct comes out again, there's another heat wave, and Ferrophon just about hanging on. That's still some amazing damage even through the special attack drop via Eerie Impulse. So Dave really slowing that Necrozma down. You know, you've got to think that the Eerie Impulse doesn't come out there, then Ferrophon is a gunner. But Ferrophon, this thing's insane, living through those fire attacks under the sun. The Okaberry really helping out there, so some good item choice on Dave's hand. Now in comes the Gastrodon, then Protect comes out from the Ferrophon. There's the Heat Wave again, just not really doing very much to Lantern at all, thanks to that Spadef boost. But Storm Drain again, being procced by that Skull, and Gastrodon gets a special attack boost for its troubles. It looks to be the only water move running on that Lantern then, so that Lantern's a little bit stuck here. Potentially if that Suicune, you know, is running in the back, might be an option. You know, if he's got something else on it other than a Scald. But at the moment, you know, all you could do against that Camerupt is hit and hope. His Meaty Beam does come out, then the Necrozma just slightly buffing, especially when it gets a critical hit on the Lantern against the Eerie Impulse, drops the Necrozma special attack. And there's the Weather Ball though from the Gastrodon. Gastrodon and Ferrophon is a gunner. Weather Ball on Gastrodon. Who would have seen that coming? That's insane. I did not know Gastron even got weather ball. Really, really good move choice there from on Dugsy's end. Making well use of that weather that he's got up. This game has been absolute crit city. You know, that Lantern getting that crit through, you know, those defense buffs. Protect comes out on both sides of Lantern, and Gastrodon Snarl comes out. That's going to drop that Necrozma special attack even further. This thing just not doing anything really now. You know, I think it's going to just slightly tickle that Lantern if it goes for an attack here, unless it gets another crit. You know, Dogsy does seem to like getting the crits this game. There is the Snarl, it's just going to drop the Gastrodon back to neutral special attack, and the Necrozma special attack, I don't think it can get too much lower, to be honest. There is another stockpile from Lantern. Can it live? The Scald comes out. The Suicune, is it going to get the burn? It does get the burn as well. So getting the status on the Suicune. So Dugsy's RNG look definitely reversing from last week. You've got to admit for sure. I think there's been about 4 crits this game and does get the burn on the Suicune too. You know, Dugsy clearly having a few words with the showdown mods after last week's showing. Yeah, I can feel the salt mine being mined. As now in comes the Camerupt, then Protect comes out from that Lantern. The Snarl is going to drop that special attack on both Camerupt and Gastrodon. So great stuff there from Dave, just slowly trying to, you know, deal with that Gastrodon and Camerupt, just really just nullifying their special attack and stalling them out. Has he got any spread moves on that Suicune? Both Lantern and Suicune do get Surf, but of course it looks like only Scald is on that Lantern. And there's another Snarl that just dropped that special attack just that, you know, that little bit further. Stockpile is going to fail on that Lantern. Ancient Power into that, so no boost. And this Air Power though from the Camerupt is going to get rid of Lantern. And now it's all up to Suicune in this one as we move on into turn number 13. And Dogsy with all 4 mons still kicking around. And this one looks to be over then. Really great start here from Dogsy, you know, but great bring with that Gastrodon, and Dave just with no answer to it. Rangaroo gonna switch in then, and Protect comes out from the Camerupt, and there is the Snarl. Does do super effective damage to that Rangaroo, but not getting too much damage away in that burn. Slowly just negating that leftovers recovery, so Suicune's gonna just slowly but surely just chip its way down in HP. As now in comes the Gastrodon there. Goes for the Surf, so there is a Surf there as well. So Dogsy making that reading, gets the Trick Room up as well. So that's good information for Dogsy then. But got to be careful now when dealing with when bringing out that Camerupt. It's a bit of a scary situation. There comes the Ancient Power from Gastrodon. Instruct comes out, so it's going to get another Ancient Power again. Is it going to get the boost? And it does. It gets the boost from the Ancient Power. So now full of special attack, defense, special defense, and speed. Maybe didn't want the speed with the Trick Room going up, but you know, regardless, does get it off. That Instruct on the Oranguru being super, super strong for Dogsy once again. Getting a double chance of getting that boost on the Gastrodon. Protect are going to come out from that Suicune, so it's just Instruct comes on the Gastrodon again, so goes for another Ancient Power. There's 2 Ancient Powers in a row, potentially going to get yet another boost. Gastrodon must have been another one that Dogsy forgot he had, just like the Oranguru last week. Don't worry, we only have mild dementia in the TBPL. I'm kidding. The Snarl is going to miss the Oranguru, so Dave missed the chance to take out the Oranguru there, but does drop the special attack back down in neutral for the Gastrodon. One more turn of Trick Room left as we move on closer to turn number 20. This is sort of just a war of attrition now, just waiting until Suicune goes down. There's the Weather Ball, gets some good damage off the Snarl. It's going to miss the Oranguru again, just 2 misses in a row, and Dave's just not had the luck this game at all, unfortunately. There goes the Snarl again, does at least take out the Oranguru and gets the KO on it. There's the Weather Ball though, that's going to get rid of this. We can get a critical hit to boot as well, and Dogsy takes the lead in this one, going into game number 2. And then so Dave's definitely got to sort of change tactic, and he does with the Lele and the Vikavolt in this one, and Dogsy bringing this time the Illumis and the Necrozma then. So Psychic Terrain is set up so Dogsy can't go for any of those prankster moves that are going to affect Dave here, but of course you would think that the Tailwind's going to come out here to make sure he's outspeeding that Lele. Vikavolt going to be much slower than everything on the field here, so Dave got to be very careful about that meteor beam potentially coming his way from Necrozma. There is the Tailwind, as we mentioned. Meteor Beam is going to come out from the cross with boosted special attack. There's the Viking Vault. Viking Vault only just hanging on with 1% HP. There's a Shadow Ball from the Lele. Not quite getting enough damage on the Necrozma. And Charge Beam coming out then is going to buff Viking Vault's special attack, but somehow living on 1% HP. That is about the 4th time that's happened this season, where Mon without Sashes lived on 1%. So Viking Vault then has presumably here got to try and switch out or go for Protectors to try and preserve its life. He is going to go for the switch out and bring in the Suicune. Sunny Day goes up, and there is the Heat Wave's going to miss the Lele, but gets the burn on the Suicune again. So Suicune burn for a second time, and Shadow Ball just slowly chipping away at Necrozma's health. And Lele is just trying to do all it can to get rid of that Necrozma, but another 2 times a Tailwind up, and Dogsy has full speed control in this one. That Suicune's leftovers damage recovery just completely negated by that burn damage now. And the Oranguru is going to switch in. Then there's the 4-on Geyser into the Suicune. Is that going to get some good damage? It takes it down to 2% HP. There's the Calm Mind from the Lele. Is burn going to take it out? There's this now going to drop that Necrozma special attack back down to neutral. The leftovers procs. His burn goes again and back down to 2% HP. He goes. Suicune's in one hell of a spot now. So that's Suicune on 2%, Vikavolt on 1%, and 2 of his mons on full health. So Dogsy making another really strong start in this one. Is Dave about to lose for a second match in a row? He gets a protect from the Suicune. Heat Wave going to come out again, so Lele's going to comfortably live that with his death, but gets the burn on the Lele as well. Moonblast is going to get rid of the Necrozma, but Instruct going to fail from the Oranguru then. Suicune just hanging on for dear life there. And now in comes the camera up then. So you would like to think that Dogsy's got that Gastrodon in the back just in case that Suicune goes to the skull, but did reveal the Surf on the Suicune. Now so Protect comes out from the camera up. You'd think going to try and go for that Trick Room here on the Oranguru. There you go, there's the Surf. Oranguru not really affected with that on the Sun, and Trick Room's going to come out, and that camera up now positioned in a very, very good spot to try and get some good damage off here. Any kind of hits into that Suicune, you think it's going to go down. There is the Eruption. It takes out both Suicune and Lele onto the Sun. That's another 2 kills for Camerupt. Instruct's going to fail because, there's nothing on the field. Now it's all up to Vikavolt and the Mega Banette. That Vikavolt on 1% HP. Not in a very good position here. And that Mega Banette's going to be left with it all to do. We saw the Rain Dance on it earlier, so maybe I'll go for that here. It does go for the Rain Dance Eruption though, not going to match because it's going to take out the Vikavolt. Now it's Mega Banette with it all to do in the 1v3. Eruption comes out again, gets some more good chip damage away on that Mega Banette. And this one looks to be over then in Dogsy's favour. Protect comes out from the Mega Camerupt. There is the Sunny Day. Shadow Claw comes out into the Mega... No, sorry, not the Mega Camerupt. Into the Camerupt. And Dave throws the towel in, chooses to forfeit that one. And Dogsy takes the game 2-0. And gets himself back up to 8th place in the league. So getting himself back to winning ways, Dogsy. It's really, really great to see. He was on a bit of a worrying losing run there. It was getting a little bit concerning, dragged right into that relegation battle. But gets himself the win in the Big Dog Army. And commiserations to Dave there, losing for a second week in a row. Has got it all to do in these final 2 weeks. So between these, between these teams down there, in not just the bottom 4, but in 7th and 8th, it's cutting it so finely. There's such fine margins. It's impossible to call at this point. As I said, these final 2 weeks are going to be completely insane. But yeah, GG's to both guys, and as I said, congrats to Dogsy getting that first win in a little while. Really great to see. On to our third game of this week then. It is the Long Island Gloomies taking on the California Bastiodons. So these two of course played each other in the British Pokemon League West Division last season. And Oma taking both of those matches last week. Silly did not have a season 2 to remember. Whereas Oma had a pretty damn strong season overall. But sort of roles reversed this season, to be honest. Silly looking incredibly strong. And definitely looking like a definite playoffs contender. Can qualify for playoffs with a win here. And Oma fighting for his life. Potentially be relegated with this game if other matches haven't gone his way. Just down to match record, he can still tie record with 8th place, but unfortunately due to match record, if he loses this one by 2-0, as he has done quite a lot this season, then Oma will be relegated along with Jabba as well. So this one has a lot on the line for sure, but Oma's got a very solid team into a lot of Silly strong leads, the likes of that Xerneas. not going to enjoy facing down with the likes of that Mega Metagross, the Solgaleo, or something like the Bastiodon even. A Blacephalon as well could look to go for that Mind Blown. There is a wide guard on the Stonjourner on Sui's team, but hasn't brought it as of yet, so could look to go for that to get damage off straight off the bat. You know how much Mind Blown does. If you can maybe go for a Sunny Day, Mind Blown. Those spread moves, as a few people have proved when they have toppled Silly, spread moves do tend to be the way forward. The Blastoise going for the fake outs and the follow me's or protects, just trying to sort of preserve itself while Xerneas sets up the Geomancy. It's always a good position to go for. But why are we even talking about Xerneas when we should be talking about the little sleepy bastard bear that sits upon Long Island Gummy's team, the Kamala, or as it is now called, Legend Killer. Is it going to take out another legend today? We will certainly see. It depends if the Solgaleo comes. Thus far, it's taken out every legendary in the league. Apart from the Lunala, this thing just doesn't stop. It's insane. The last resort, the Sleep Talk last resort with the Life Orb or the Choice Band has just been so good for Silly. I said it last week, but absolutely props to this kid, man. Always comes up with it. We say meme strats, but when he makes it work, oh boy, does he make it work? For sure. Other things on the team that are really strong. Arcanine here could be really big. Get those Intimidates off. Of course, Metagross is clear body initially before it megas, but if he's able to sort of pivot in that Arcanine after it's got the mega off, drop its attack a little bit, just sort of nullify what it's doing. And against that Garchomp as well, the Arcanine could be really, really big. Got to be careful, of course, with Earthquakes coming out from that Garchomp, but typically the Arcanine is positioned really, really well against a lot of strong mons. I would definitely expect to see the Blastoise again, as always. He may not look to lead with it though this time. Maybe something he brings sort of in the back just to try and throw Oma off here. But you never know. So it's impossible to call. Over on Oma's side, he has been able to sort of switch things up as of recent, but does tend to be bringing sort of the similar sort of mons. We haven't seen Solgaleo in a little while. I think just sort of doesn't want to bring them at, when it comes down to it, he doesn't want to bring both Mega Metagross and Solgaleo like he did against Aaron in week 1. And if he's going to choose between the two, I think Oma's just sort of weighing up the options and thinking that Mega Metagross is better. It's got a bit of a better move pool. It has got like the likes of that Thunder Punch, Bullet Punch, like Stomping Tantrum and things. So it's fair play to Oma. I can see why I'd go for that. The Bastiodon has come in recent weeks as well. The thing is really slow, but it's very, very bulky as well. A heavy slam here could be really strong into the Xerneas, so could look to go for that. Also, as well, Aerodactyl with that Tailwind could be really important in trying to beat out that Xerneas. And as we mentioned on that Mega Metagross, the Thunder Punch, as well as things like Ice Punch, that Mega Metagross has a wide move pool that makes it such a such a useful tool to have. Water Ash as well, the Edge through Surging Strikes. I'm not too sure whether it would be sort of wise to bring it here, but could be a good bring. Against a couple of Silly's Muncie, especially if he looks to sort of try and protect first turn out. Not that Oma really has any fake out pressure, but if he doesn't go all out Unga Bunga hyper offense, could be something to consider. Of course, going to not be affected by those protects. And I think Comfy here as well could be really strong. Just to try and preserve whatever is next to it, Not that it might not end up mattering if Xerneas is able to just wreck house as it has done a lot this season, but you never know. If something's able to survive and goes for Floral Healing, it can be very, very useful to have. But anyway, guys, let's get into this one. It is the Long Island Gummies taking on the California Bastiodons, and Oma is going to lead the line with the Aerodactyl and the Mega Metagross. Silly kicking things off with the Honchcrow, and Blastoise then has got the Xerneas, the Arcanine, Talonflame and the Mega Lucario in the back. Oma with the Garchomp, Comfey, Bastiodon and Riolu in the back. So father versus son, the Lucario, Mega Lucario and Riolu. Aerodactyl comes out with the Protect. Mega Metagross goes to the Protect as well, stop that fake out from that Blastoise, and stops the Night Slash as well from the Honchcrow. So Oma pretty much free here to go for a Tailwind this first turn. I think a Thunder Punch is going to really hurt into that Blastoise. So could be something he goes for here. I fully expect Blastoise to try and go for a Follow Me. just to keep damage away from the Hunchcrow. You know, Hunchcrow with those Night Slash is going to get some really good damage away to the Mega Metagross. You know, Silly identifying a bit of a dark side weakness on Orma's team. Only the one weak dark type this time, so Follow Me does come after the Blastoise. There is the dual Wing Beater, no Tailwind then in the Blastoise, so Orma may be seeing that the the Metagross is faster anyway. Night Slash does get the critical hit, and Mega Metagross only just hanging on. Rockside getting some good damage away, but not enough to take out the Hunchcrow, and gets a little bit of chip damage away. And Blastoise, I really thought that the Thunder Punch would come out there. But Rockside either way gets some really good damage. There is the Sucker Punch going to take out the Mega Metagross though. There's a dual Wing Beat into Blastoise, not really getting much damage off. Scald's going to get some very good damage away to the Aerodactyl though, and now in comes the Garchomp then. So is there an Ice Beam kicking around on that Blastoise? Very interesting. Protect comes out from the Blastoise. There is the Sucker Punch to take out the Aerodactyl, and all straight away it is 2 down for Orma. Does get a kill with the Rockside, and Garchomp take out that Hunchcrow, but it is now a 2v3 in Silly's favour. And if that Xerneas is kicking around in the back, then Orma is in one hell of a spot. And speak of the devil, there it is. Garchomp and Riolu both weak to Xerneas' Dazzling Gleams here, so Silly is primed and positioned very well to just take this game 1, and it's going to be interesting what Orma does here. Follow Me does come out. There's the Coaching from Riolu, goes for the Rock Slide. It's not going to be enough, and Dazzling Gleam is going to just take out the Garchomp, gets a critical hit. Riolu only just hanging on, and this one is over. Silly's going to take this game 1, and Orma's going to forfeit that game 1 as well. You know, Riolu not got any damaging moves I'm expecting, and we go straight into game 2. Yeah, it doesn't even need to Geomancy, and this time goes for the Intim on the Arcanine, and with Intim, Arcanine and Blastoise kicking things off as well, so Orma you would think is going to go for the double protect here, and maybe a Coaching on Riolu, unless he's running the protect on the Riolu, might just go for just keep things safe. And there is the protect. Protect comes out from the Metagross as well. Orma forgetting to Mega again, but not that it matters too much, it is just protect. There's the Will-O-Wisp on Arcanine as well, so good move choice there from Silly to try and nullify that Mega Metagross's attack. You know, if you can't intimate, then you can at least half his attack with a burn. There is the Mega as expected. Follow Me is going to come out, Coaching from that Riolu, and the Rock Slide then. So it's going to get some very good damage away to Arcanine, but not quite enough. It's going to proc the Citrus Berry on said Arcanine. Does get the flinch on said Arcanine as well, so that's really huge for Orma to try and get himself back in this one. That Rock Slide getting some really big damage away. You know, that Riolu can potentially just safely keep clicking Coaching here and buffing that Metagross's defense up, but really needs a bit of a special defense boost here, to be honest. But you know, that defense buff is going to save him in case that Hunchcrow's kicking around. Coaching comes out again. There is the Rock Slide. That's going to be enough to take out the Arcanine and get some real good damage away at the Blastoise. Skull's going to come out. Is it going to get the burn on the Mega Metagross? It does as well. So that Metagross's attack is halved, and now in comes the Hunchcrow, which we just mentioned. And that's not what Orma wanted to see, but it has at least got him on advantage now. Coaching comes out once again, so that might negate some of that damage. And Hunchcrow only just hanging on there 30%, and does get the flinch again. Scald into that Riolu, not really doing too much to it. And Orma's looking really, really strong here. They're just slowly chipping away at that Blastoise health. And that Hunchcrow can't really do anything at this point with that sort of low health. Protect's going to come out from the Blastoise. There is his Sucker Punch, but it gets the critical hit on the Mega Metagross. The Mega Metagross getting taken out by the critical hit again. That Sucker Punch doing some really big work. So now in comes the Garchomp. So Riolu may look to go for a Coaching again here. Just try and buff up that Garchomp. The flinches though really, really huge for Silly's favour. That was quite important, that one. That definitely mattered for Orma's chances here. Sucker Punch is going to activate Rough Skin. There's Garchomp getting hit buff from the Coaching. Rock Slide is going to take out the Hunchcrow, and is now a 3v2. There's a Scald into Garchomp, gets some good little chip damage away. Now in comes the Xerneas then. So Orma's got to hope whatever he hits that Xerneas with is going to do enough. We might look to see an Earthquake potentially. You know, a Coaching and Earthquake might do the trick more than a Rock Slide. I'm not too sure. Garchomp is very, very, very bulky and very physically strong, but would it be enough? And right, in comes the Bastion then, so the Garchomp switching out, Protect comes out from the Blastoise, and there is the Coaching, buffs up that Bastiodon, and Xerneas going for that Geomancy, and this one could be over right here. Now that Xerneas has got the speed, it's got the special attack boost and the special defense boost. You know, Bastiodon is going to resist that incoming Dazzling Gleam. Screech comes out from the Xerneas. There is the Dazzling Gleam, so it takes out the Riolu, so it's a 2v2. Scald comes out into that Bastion. Bastion hangs on for it. Is the heavy slam enough? No, it's not. Even with that defense drop, not quite enough. Takes Xerneas down below half, and now in comes the Garchomp then. Unfortunately, that Xerneas is going to be faster, and one Dazzle Gleam is going to be enough to at least take out the Garchomp. It might even take out the Bastiodon in this turn. And Oma tried. I think I said that those critical hits really mattered, and the Dazzle Gleam does take it out. Xerneas wrecks house again, and Oma, unfortunately, is going to be relegated, our second team, to the British Pokemon League Championship. Commiserations to Oma on that one. I gotta be honest, he got really unlucky in that game. You know, that's not to take anything away from Silly, don't get me wrong. Silly played that super strong, and the Xerneas was always positioned really well to get some big damage off, especially against, you know, the likes of the Garchomp, the Riolu, you know, both had type of advantage over it. But oh, that Sucker Punch crit in that game too really sucked to see. You know, you have to think that Oma might have stood a chance of winning there, especially with Bullet Punch was kicking around on that Mega Metagross. So it's unfortunate, but that's the way these things go. And we will see Oma in the British Pokemon League Championship next season then. And Silly qualifies himself for playoffs as well, so congrats to Silly. That is well earned. He's been on fire this season. You've got to admit that Xerneas is on something like 47 kills. It is just not stopping. So it'll be exciting to see how that thing finishes out the season. On our fourth game of this week then, and it is the Wobbuffet Ninjas taking on Space City PC. First time these two have played against each other, so it'll be interesting to see how this one turns out. Meme, as we mentioned earlier, on a bit of a winning run as well as the Ninjas, so it is streak versus streak in this one. And it could be a bit of weather wars going on here. You know, Ninjas with that Politoed and of course Groudon has access to the sun, as well as that Mega Charizard with its Drought ability. And you know, I would expect both the Groudon and Mega Charizard to come here just to sort of try and work around and reset the weather. But of course, got to be watchful because that Murkrow as well, like a few of the other Pranksamons, has access to both the Rain Dance and the Sunny Day. So could see, as we said, could see a little bit of interesting weather wars going on in this match. You know, as we saw when Meme took on Inglorious Surface earlier on in the season. Umbreon could be really strong. You know, I think a lot of people are having trouble taking out this damn Umbreon. It is so bulky and it's been so strong for Meme. Yeah, just full credit and Meme for picking that thing up. And the set he's been running on it as well has just been so hard for people to stop. You know, I think he's going to look to not bring any status moves on that thing with the Finny having the Misty Terrain. You know, doesn't want to, you know, make a move on it pointless. But, you know, just the Snarls and the Moonlight make it such a problem to deal with. You know, drops your stats. And any damage you do to it, you just heal itself back up. So, you know, as I said, great stuff there. You know, I think Dusknoir as well here could be a good bring against the Ninjas. You know, they may look to get Trick Room set up on Lunala, and, you know, Meme could just straight away reverse that Trick Room with the Dusknoir. Or if he brings a slow enough team and the Ninjas, you know, go all out speed, could look to set up Trick Room for himself. And, you know, just be primed and have speed control. I think Mienshao as well here is gonna look to bring that against the, you know, it's got really wide move pool, you know, and the wide guard as well, going to be really big. And of course the close combat, you know, that Kangaskhan and potentially Mega Aggron if it does come. I would think the Mega Aggron staying home in this one. You know, the threat of the of fire attacks under the sun, not probably worth the risk, to be honest. But, you know, stranger things have happened. I think Lunala's got to come in this one as well. You know, Lunala, like a lot of the legendaries, with a really wide move pool. You know, we've seen this Lunala pull out all sorts. You know, Heat Waves, Meteor Beams. Obviously, its signature move, Moongeist Beam. Has things like Solar Beam, has Ice Beam. It's just a really strong legendary all round. Of course, with that Shadow Shield, you've got to break. Just like West like Multiscale, got to break that Shadow Shield before you can get, you know, all out damage on this thing. But if you do break that Shadow Shield, hit this thing with the Darker Ghost move, it is definitely going down. For sure, it's very weak once it breaks its Shadow Shield. So that's always going to be on Meme's mind here if the Lunala comes. You know, got to be worrying about that Kangaskhan as well, but with two Inner Focus Mons on Meme's team, maybe not too worried about it as such. Serena as well could be really strong in this matchup with those grass moves, but it's going to be much slower than a lot of the Mons on Meme's team, so got to be careful then. Might look to try and get Tailwind up with that macro just to, you know, get that speed control. But we will certainly see. Anyway, guys, stop the waffling. Let's get into this one. It is the Wobbuffet Ninjas taking on Space City PC, and Meme has got the Mega Charizard, has got the ground on. Venusaur as well has come along, as well as Mienshao, Umbreon, and as we mentioned, the Duskmore. Ninjas kicking things off with the Kangaskhan and the Lunala, and has the Finny, the Boltund, the Serena, and the Murkrow in the back. So it's the Mienshao and Duskmore kicking things off for Meme. May look to try and just go straight off the bat with a CC, or might try the fake out into Kangaskhan, because Mienshao is going to be faster than Kangaskhan here. Are we about to see a sort of a trick room in a trick room though from Duskmore and the Lunala? Be interested to see how this one plays out. Alright, are the Ninjas going to go all out damage and try and get rid of that Duskmore straight away as Kangaskhan switches out? In comes the Serena. A life switch comes out from the Duskmore. There's the CC from the Mienshao, so Serena has some good damage away there. And Moongeist Beam into the Mienshao is going to take it down to its sash, so Mienshao does live to fight another day, so that's always good to see. And you know, one turn down, no one's down as of yet, but good start from both sides, you would think. U-turn does come out from the Serena, so it looks to be Choice Scarf on the Serena, and that gets rid of the Mienshao, and now in comes the Kangaskhan again. Moongeist Beam is getting some really good damage away to the Duskmore. It only just hangs on. It does proc the Elgar Berry, so that's good, useful information. No, there is the Icy Wind from that Duskmore just to slow the Lunala and the Kanga down. And now in comes the Umbreon then. Is this where it starts to get a bit dicey for the Ninjas? So once this Umbreon gets on the field, it's very hard to get rid of it, for sure, as a lot of people have found out. And this thing doesn't die very easily. May look to see another ally switch here from the Duskmore as well, just to try and stop any attacks hurting that Umbreon too much. And the longer Meme keeps it around, you'd expect a double in here into the Umbreon. There's the fake out, but it's in a focus on the Umbreon, so big mistake there from the Ninjas. The Moongeist Beam is going to get rid of the Duskmore, so it's now a 2v2. But there is the Snarl. It's going to break the Shadow Shield on the Lunala. Well, the Icy Wind is already broken, but does now drop its special attack, so it's a slower and special attack drop Lunala. Now in comes the Groudon to set up the Sun. And a big mistake there from the Ninjas. Just, you know, a bit of a waste of a move, but you know, it is a 2v4. Just got something to take out, but that special attack drop on the Lunala is going to really hurt the chances. The speed drop as well going to be really important here, especially for that Groudon. Out in comes the Finny, is going to get that Misty Surge up. There's a Precipice Blaze to get some really good damage from the Kangaskhan. Double edge though, get some good damage away to the Umbreon. Kangaskhan only just hanging on, and the foul play though from the Umbreon, going to get rid of that Kangaskhan, and Finny down to about half HP. And now in comes the Lunala then with its stats reset. So we saw how much Precipice Blades done last time. You'd think another one is going to do enough to take out both Lunala and the Finny here. There's the Ice Beam, not quite doing enough to Groudon. There's the Precipice Blades, it gets rid of the Finny Lunala, only just hang on for D-Life. And there's the Snarl, but it does miss the Lunala, so could that Snarl be really big here? And now in comes the Serena, so all of a sudden went from it being a 2v4 to a 2v2, so Meme really bringing this one back. Groudon putting in the legwork. Is the Ice Beam going to be able to do enough? Or is Precipice Blades going to take out both? There's a player off. Umbreon managing to hang on. Ice Beam going to take the Groudon down to 1% HP, and Precipice Blades gets the job done. And Meme takes his first game then. Unbelievable scenes at the end there. What a comeback there from Meme in a Space City PC. Groudon just absolutely wrecking things with Precipice Blades, and Ninjas with absolutely no answer to it. As we move on to game number 2, it is Kangaskhan and Serena that start the line this time, and Mienshao and Duskmore kicking things off again for Meme. That Frisk does find the items on the Kangaskhan and the Serena, so sees its Assault Vest, the Kangaskhan, and Scarf Serena now. You'd expect you know, a switch out here again from the Ninjas. And the Kangaskhan doesn't ideally want to eat a close combat from Mienshao. Of course, can't really go for the fake out with that Mienshao being in a focus, so if if Meme can make a read on the switch out here, could end up putting himself in a very strong position. Kangaskhan just went down. In comes the Lunala. Then there's the play rough. That's going to take the Mienshao down to its sash. Does drop his attack as well, and there's the poison jab. So the attack drop is going to be really huge. Pokemon managed to hang on. They hang on at this Pokemon in this arena, and there's the Icy Wind to drop this arena speed and drops the Lunala speed as well. Most importantly, breaking its Shadow Shield, which is really, really big. The Serena switches out in because they finish to get the Misty Terrain up. There's the knockoff Lunala, only just hanging on. You've got to think if that attack drop doesn't come in, it manages to live that. Dusknoir managing to live that Moongeist beam and Proxy Sagwa where he gets out back with the full HP. But Poltergeist coming out with the knockoff, taking off Lunala's ability and ending up the Poltergeist doesn't end up doing anything. So a bit of a mistake there on Meme's side. So there could this be where the game swings, as we saw in game number 1. You know, that fake out mistake from Kanga ended up being really huge in terms of getting damage off to the Umbreon. Yeah, knockoff really did do a lot of damage. Once that Shadow Shield gets broken, that Lunala leaves itself very wide open. Protectile comes out from that Lunala. It's going to stop that knockoff from coming off. And Moonblast is going to now get rid of that Mienshao. So it is 4v3. There's the Icy Wind. Going to drop that Tapu Fini speed. Obviously not doing too much damage with that little bit of chip damage. Could be important now. In comes the Umbreon then. So if Meme has got the Megazard or the Groudon or potentially that Venusaur in the back, he's leaving it to last. Trying to just sort of slowly chip away at those stats. Moonblast going to come out and get some good damage away at Umbreon. There's the Snarls that's going to get rid of Lunala and drops the special attack on the Finny as well. Moonblast as well from the Finny doing some good damage. So there you go. I think that's without that special attack drop, the Umbreon goes down there. So really good stuff from Meme there, getting rid of it, and that speed drop from the Icy Wind, letting Umbreon move first, really big. And there is now in comes the Kangaskhan. So Kangaskhan, you expect to just go all out for damage now. Could we see an ally switch from Dusknoir just to try and keep that Umbreon alive? Ally switch does come out there. The Double Edge is going to get rid of the Umbreon, and the Dusknoir is going to eat up that Moonblast pretty well, as it's now a 2v3 as Groudon, as we said, Groudon switches in. Kangaskhan's in a bit of a good spot here with its scrappy ability. It means it is going to be able to get hits on that Dusknoir. But we saw in the last game how much those Precipice Blades did from the Groudon. You could see it yet again with making the comeback. Now Groudon's been so good for Meme here, and no Politoed in the line even for the Ninjas. So just comfortably able to set the sun up and get the weather. Precipice Blades comes out, and Serena and Kangaskhan somehow living through that. There is the triple axle, so is it going to do enough? It gets the Groudon under half HP. And there's the double edge. Groudon just about hanging on, but another Precipice Blaze is going to get rid of both Kangaskhan and Serena. So now it's going to be all up left to Finny. Finny versus Groudon. Who is going to be faster? It depends if, what set is on that Finny. Thunder Punch, so the Groudon is faster, but it is the Wackenberry on the Finny, so it means the Ice Beam is going to come out, and Ninja's tires up at 1 apiece then. We go into a game 3 in this one, so it is streak versus streak, and who's going to come out with the victory here? It's Umbreon and Mienshao kicking things off this time, so Meme switching things up a bit, and it's Lunala and Serena, so Ninja's switching things up for all 3 games, trying to keep things interesting. Ninjas know that there's a knockoff, there's a poison jab on that Mienshao, so gotta be careful with the Serena and the Lunala here. The U-turn does come out, get some good damage away at Umbreon, so the Serena is now going to switch out. Now in comes the Finny. Eventually going to take what's going to take a poison jab for itself, so a bit of a mistake there, and there's the Moonblast. The Umbreon somehow hanging on. There's the foul play from the Umbreon, gets a little bit more damage away at the Finny, but maybe not the best switch in there, switching, a Mon-V to Poison type for a Mon-V to Poison type, but oof. Now in comes the Venusaur. Protect comes out from that Finny, and there is the knockoff, and Lunala gets some good damage off, and it's going to drop that Expert Belt. There's the Moonblast, so great switch in there from Meme, just allow that Venusaur to take that damage. And Meme now can just switch in that Groudon and allow us to get speed control with that Venu. And Meme just going absolutely all out with the damage here. In comes the Kangaskhan, then Protect's going to come out from the Lunala. There is the knockoff, so blocks the knockoff, and Sludge Bomb gets some good damage off the Kangaskhan despite that Assault Vest. So Lunala does have access to that Ice Beam, so could get some good damage off at least here on that Venusaur. Saw that already in the Groudon Protectors come out on that Venusaur. There is the fake out into Mienshao, but it is of course in a focus, and CC's going to return the kill, gets rid of Kangaskhan. Another big mistake there on the Ninja side. And now it is a 3v4. And, you know, Mienshao has Poison Jab. That Venusaur is likely going to have Sludge Bomb, and, you know, Meme knows that there's a Serena and a Finny waiting in the back, so Meme's got to feel pretty confident going into these final couple of turns. In comes that Serena, knows it's Scarf as well, so... We already saw triple axle and play rough from the Serena though, so is Meme about to make a switch in? Might look to switch into the Groudon here and get Chlorophyll set up for that Venusaur. I would think that it's potentially going to be faster than the Serena regardless. There it goes, the Groudon switches in comes the Finny. There is the Sludge Bomb, and that gets rid of the Serena, so it just gets the KO immediately. Great read there from Meme. And then in comes Lunala, and you know, that Venusaur is going to be going brr. It's going fast now. And this one looks to be done, so the Ninja's just falling apart in this final game, unfortunately. But, you know, a very close game. That game 1, very, very close. Game 2, also close. Game 3, not as close, but at least does get the kill on the Venusaur. There's the Precipice Blades. That's going to get rid of Lunala, and now it's all up to Finny in the 1v3. You've got to think that that the Mienshao has got this one, or even, you know, the Precipice Blades from the Groudon going to be enough. In comes the Mienshao then. Fake out comes out from there. There is the Thunder Punch. It's going to put the Whack and Parry, so he does manage to live regardless. But Meme's going to take this one, the 2-1. So Meme's streak carries on, and the Ninja's 4-game winning streak is going to end. There is the Poison Jab. Gets rid of the Finny, and it goes to 2-1. So GG's to Meme on that one. That was a really, really fun set. I'm not going to lie. The fake outs on in the inner focus ones were very interesting, an interesting choice on my end. One day I will learn, right? I promise you, it might be playoffs in like a few seasons time when I learn, but one day. Yeah, exactly, Aaron. Just it's chip damage. It's, you know, any damage is good damage, right? No, man. Full congrats to Meme. Meme is of course now qualified for playoffs, so it's confirmed. The Ninjas, myself, must wait yet another week to find out whether they're qualified, but Meme's had one hell of a first season in TBPL and is looking really, really strong going to playoffs, so it's going to be interesting to see how he does in the final few weeks, and then, you know, see how he does in playoffs. On to our 5th game of the week then, it is first versus 8th. It's going to be the Inglorious Surfers taking on the Scuba Squirtles. It is the battle of the Squirtles, the one we've been waiting for. Scuba Squirtles, the Surfers, you know. It is first versus 8th. Of course, these two have not played each other as of yet. Neil's joining this season halfway through, so you know it's got to be a lot of first-time battles between teams when he plays them here. But you know, Surfers bouncing back from that defeat versus the Ninjas with a 2-0 win over the Shadow Kings last week, looking very, very strong into this one. You know, on Neil's side, has been bringing a sort of the same sort of set of mons, so you know. If it works, you know, it's never a terrible thing to bring the same set, but it does, of course, in a draft league, does make you a little bit easy to read when it comes to sort of prepping. So Aaron, I think, is going to see that there's the likes of the Alakazam and DD, the Ash Greninja, you know, the Volbeat, Entei, and Slacking coming on the regular to be able to prep around that. You've got to think that the Zacian's always got to come. You know, the Zacian does have Assurance, which is going to put it in a really good spot against the likes of Alakazam, and in DD and Sacred Sword or CC are going to work real well in that Slacking, and it's always going to be faster unless that Volbeat gets a Tailwind up, but can of course reply back with a Tailwind of his own with that Pelipper. May look to try and play a bit of Weather Wars here as well with the Pelipper and the Ludicolo. Ludicolo, of course, providing that fake out pressure does Ludicolo! Gets, as I said, not only gets a speed control up, but sets up the weather for himself, and that's going to sort of nullify the damage that Entei can do to his to Zacian, because Entei does match up pretty well into that Zacian. Sacred Swords, Behemoth Blades are still going to get some pretty good damage away thanks to that Sacred Sword, the Intrepid Sword, but Entei can of course fire back with a Sacred Fire, and it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt the Zacian, which was why I think the Pelipper is going to be really strong here, just to try and negate that. Or if the Ho-Oh does come, Niels has brought the Ho-Oh once or twice. It's going to sort of shut that thing down a little bit. And I think that's going to be really strong. May look to leave things like the Hitmontop at home. With its access to quite a few priority moves. The Psychic Terrain from the Indeedee may look to be a problem. It's where Ludicolo's Fake Out, might be stalled out a little bit, but either way, I think the two Weathermons here are going to be really, really big. I'd fully expect to see Skuntank as well, just try and drop, if it's not doing enough damage to take out the likes of that Alakazam, Indeedee is going to be able to at least drop the special attacks and kind of just really slow them down. Niels' expanding force duo of Indeedee Alakazam has put a few teams down this season. It's been really difficult to deal with. And as well as that Ash Greninja as well. If you're unlucky enough like Jabba was last week for that Ash Greninja to change to its Ash Greninja form, that thing with a Choice Scarf or Choice Specs or even a Life Orb does of course get that get an opportunity to put a spare item on it, whereas a lot of the Megas don't. Can be very difficult to deal with. Of course, you've got to get a kill with it first. That's the all important thing, but is a very, very strong asset to Niels' team regardless, as well as that slacking. We've seen him running the skill swap on Alakazam, get that Truant off the slacking, and this thing hits like an absolute truck. So yeah, whether Niels will switch things up things here, I'm not sure. Niels is fighting for that final player spot and fighting against relegation, so this is a huge match for Niels as well as it is for Aaron. Aaron looking to try and confirm that first seed for playoffs and try and win himself that regular season winners title for a second season in a row, of course, winning the British Pokemon League East Division last season. So our Season 2 champion is primed and positioned well to do that, but has got to get over Niels first. But let's get into this one. I will prefix to this. This is a download replay game, so I will do my best to try and keep up with the action as Aaron leads the line with Skuntank and Ludicolo, and Niels kicking things off with the Volbeat and the Entei then. So switching things out straight away for Pelipper to Ludicolo, get that Swift Swim up, and Tailwind comes out from that Volbeat. Dominant Tantrum is going to get blocked by that Pelipper, so great switch in there from Aaron. Whether that was a good read or not, I don't know, but Entei not really getting as much damage on the Stone Edge. They'll get some really good damage away to Pelipper and procs that Citrus Berry, and the Muddy Water is going to get rid of that Entei and Volbeat. Agua Berry does at least get proc, but that's some good damage away either way. Does get the light screen up for its troubles, and there is the Tailwind from the Pelipper. Now in comes the Greninja. Encore coming out from that Volbeat, so that's really huge, as there's the Ice Beam from that Ash Greninja. Giga Drain, not quite enough to take out the Greninja. That light screen proving to be really huge there. Of course, Tailwind's going to fail on that Pelipper, and Aaron will be forced to switch out and bring in the Skuntank. There is the Ice Beam again from the Greninja, but it's going to take itself out there, and it's now a 2v2. Volbeat only just hanging on after that Muddy Water. There's the Struggle Bug. This at least going to drop the special attack on the Skuntank and the Ludicolo for his final month switches. Now in comes the Alakazam. Pelipper switches back in now. Encore's gone. There is the Tailwind from the Volbeat. Dazzling Gleam not really getting enough damage on it. And there's the Snarl. Is going to drop the special attack on the Alakazam, and is of course super effective, so it's getting good damage off. Wide Guard's going to come out, so that's a great read there from Aaron. Going to block the Dazzling Gleam and going to block the Struggle Bug as well, so no damage done from Niels' side there, and Snarl is going to take out the Volbeat, and now it's all up to Alakazam then to try and bring this back in a 1v4. Goes to the Wide Guard again, but Niels makes a good read there and gets the Shadow Ball off, which is going to drop the special defense on the Pelipper. Dark Pulse from the Skuntank, not quite doing enough to take out Alakazam. Now in comes the Sword Dog, the Zacian, and Skill Swap comes out from the Alakazam, so it does reveal the Skill Swap, does Niels at the end there. So it might be something that Aaron needs to watch out for going into this game too, but does at least take the game one, as in comes Ludicolo and Zacian paired up next to each other, and Volbeat and Entei again for Niels. So Niels sticking to his guns as a Protect comes out from that Zacian, and there is the Tail Wheel from Volbeat. So Protect blocking that Sacred Fire, and there goes the Muddy Water, but the Muddy Water does miss, and no accuracy drops as well, as that is Life Orb Ludicolo, so it takes a little bit of chip damage. And now in comes the Pelipper. Light Screen goes up from the Volbeat, and the Stone Age gets the critical hit, so Niels making a brilliant read there, seeing that the Zacian was going to switch out and bring in the Pelipper. makes the read, and Stone Edge gets a very important critical hit. Now in comes Zacian again. So Rain is at least up now, so that Sacred Fire not going to quite do as much damage, but doesn't get the burn either, which is important for that Zacian's hit, you know, for it living. Muddy Water does get the critical hit on the Volbeat, so that Prankstamon is gone and not doing as much to that Entei as there's the Behemoth Blade. That's got some really good damage away to the Entei. Alakazam is the next one for Niels, and in comes now the Skuntank Protect coming out from that Zacian. Just try and block that skill swap or potentially the Sacred Fire. Skill swaps does come out from Alakazam and puts the Synchronize on the Skuntank. Now in comes the Ludicolo, and Niels makes another great read and skill swaps the Swift Swim on Alakazam, which means Ludicolo is going to go last and gets burnt by that Sacred Fire. There is a Snarl from the Skuntank that is going to take out the Alakazam. And Ludicolo slowly taking a bit of chip damage away from that Ludicolo from that burn. Shadow Ball comes out there as this Stomping Tantrum, but on the Skuntank it is Sugar Berry though, so it's going to block by that. And there is the Snarl from the Skuntank, drops that Alakazam special attack just that little bit more. And the Muddy Water is going to get rid of the Alakazam, and now it is all up to Niels' final one, which is the Slacking. And with Truant, of course, it's going to at least get a attack off for the first time, but there is a Sludge Bomb and Icy Wind on the Slacking this next turn. With Truant, it's not going to get goals. Ludicolo does go down now to the Life Orb damage. In comes Zacian, there is a Sacred Sword, and Aaron's going to take this one 2-0, and that's going to drop Niels back into the relegation zone. So, man, that's what I mean. Like, each game keeps happening, and people keep just sort of bouncing up and down between those final two spots for playoffs, and is anyone's guess as to what could happen, and that's a really big loss for Niels. That's going to really hurt. But Aaron takes one step closer to that regular season winner's title as well. So, you know, Aaron has just bounced right back from that defeat the other week and just carried on that form that he took before that, and is looking really, really big and really difficult to stop. You know, played around with the weather duo and ended up being really important. Some very good reads in that second game though. You know, Niels proving that proving his skill on that one. Two very good reads with the skill swap and the Stone Edge. You know, almost brought himself back into that one. So GG's to you both guys, and you know, congrats to Aaron. Getting another win. Commiserations to Niels, as you said, dropping down into the relegation zone. But on to our final match of the week. It is South Croydon Saws taking on the Tyrants. And these two on the very same record, then both on 5-3. You know, Chris having a couple of difficult losses in the last couple of weeks, but back to winning ways now, and is going to look to try and continue those winning ways against Silver here. Silver, of course, last time out, losing to Silly's Long Island Goomies. You know, I think Silver, by his own admission, made a few important mistakes in that one that he's going to look to try and avoid in this match going forward. But has got to be very careful from you know, that Kyogre. You know, Octillery, not going to hit on it. It's very strong, but those Origin Pulses and Water Spouts from the Kyogre, even though Octillery is going to resist, is going to do some really big damage, especially if the Moody Boosts do not go his way. But you know, as always, Octillery is going to be really strong here, as well as the Kali Shadow. But Kali Shadow got to be careful that, you know, it doesn't get either revenge killed or taken out by like something like the Indeedee Male if it comes, or the Hydreigon. You know, Hydreigon with the Dark Pulse is gonna do more than enough to take that thing out. You know, maybe this is a one where Mega Diancie stays home for Silver. You know, it's been so strong for him recently with those Diamond Storms. You know, getting those defense buffs and doing that spread damage. It's been really, really big. But you know, when you're facing down the Kyogre and you know, the Mega Swampert that not only gets Swift Swim and of course water attacks, but has ground attacks as well, you know, leave yourself a little bit open. Same with the Registeel as well. You know, typically he's going to benefit from the rain being up, but unless he puts Amnesia on that thing, Kyogre's spread moves, and of course, you know, the Earthquake high horsepower from Mega Swampert is going to do big damage away to that. I would think Amoonguss is definitely going to try and come here. You know, if you can try and slow down that Kyogre's rampant form with Spores and Synthesis, as we saw against Silly last week, just try and get that Amoonguss in the game, then that's going to be really, really huge. May look to go for the Crobat here, just get Tailwind up to try and, you know, outspeed the Swift Swim Mega Swampert here, but you know, other than that, I'm not too sure what Crobat's really bringing to the table. Can of course go for those Toxics, but whether he goes for that one with Crizzle's team being such a hyper offense, I'm not too sure on that one. I think Whimsicott here. Whimsicott has been so huge for Crizzle this season. Let me just give this thing a special mention. You know, Crizzle's just got the absolute best out of this Whimsicott. Not only has it been such a valuable support to his team with Tailwinds and whatever else, but you know, this thing has been putting in the work in the kill department as well. You know, Energy Balls, and Moonblast have been really big on this thing, and it's just getting kills left, right, and center. I think it's out killing a lot of people's sweeper mons. So yeah, full credit to Chris, and of course this Whimsicott has been really, really big for him. May look to see something a bit out of the ordinary here from Chris, maybe. Something like a speed swap on that Pheromosa to buff out that Copperage could be good. But whether this is a game to risk this, I'm not too sure. I may just look to go all out with the Kyogre, but that is of course an option there, as well as follow me on that ferret. If Amoonguss is going to come, can go for those that follow me and stop the Kyogre from getting spawned and taking too much damage and getting put to sleep. But anyway, guys, on to the final game of the week. It is the South Croydon Saws taking the Tyrants. Again, this is a download, so I will try to keep up with it as best I can. As is Whimsicott and Kyogre leading the line, is Octillery and the Amoonguss kicking us off for Silver. Protectors come out from the Kyogre, and Whimsicott going for the Prankster substitute. Then there's a substitute from the Octillery as well. Spore coming out from the Amoonguss, as you would expect there. It does get blocked by that Protect, and Octillery gets a little bit of its HP back. Thanks to its leftovers, gets a speed boost via the Moody boost. There is Encore from the Whimsicott. It's going to get blocked by that Protect, and Octillery dropping a special defense there from the Moody. The Ice Beam not quite doing enough to Amoonguss, and Amoonguss puts the Kyogre to sleep then. And gets another Moody boost, but does drop a special attack a little bit further. Encore is going to go off this time, so Octillery now is locked into Substitute, unless Silver tries to switch it out. Not Substitute, is locked into Protect. Does get the double Protect off, and of course Kyogre does stay asleep. Some more Moody boosts going off for Octillery there. Protect is going to fail this time. There's the Encore onto the Amoonguss, so Amoonguss now going to be locked into Synthesis, just allowing himself to heal up. So both mons on the Silver side locked into Encore, and Whimsicott, the only one doing here is he does switch out into the Alolan Executor. There's a Protect from the Octillery, does land this time, as Kyogre says Sleep Energy Ball going to get blocked by that Protect. So Crizzle, I think, hoping that he wouldn't get another Protect off, as now the Encore does end on Octillery. Kyogre does wake up this time. There's the Ice Beam. That's going to get rid of Alolan Executor right off the bat. And now there is the Energy Ball. That is at least going to break the Substitute. Gets a critical hit to boot. And there's the Ice Beam from the Octillery, breaking the Substitute on Whimsicott's side as well. And Octillery now to 4 times attack, but has dropped his special attack and special defense, so not going to really benefit from that. Maybe this it's got Protectors come out from the Octillery there, so that's going to block that Energy Ball. And there's the Giga Drain from the Amoonguss, so blocking by the Protect from the Kyogre, as well as now in comes the Aurorus, so switching things out, and Registeel switching in for Silver, seeing that an Energy Ball is coming its way, and it eats that against that into the Aurorus, getting put to sleep. Encore coming out into that Amoonguss, so it's just locked into Spore as the Registeel goes for the Substitute, and Spore of course not doing anything to Whimsicott. In comes the Octillery, and Crizzle just completely stalling out what Silver wants to do with these Encores. That Registeel now is just fully locked into those Substitutes, and of course it just can't do anything. The Substitute's going to keep failing, and Octillery is going to get those mini boosts, and now Whimsicott just goes behind the Substitute again. There's the Air Power from the Aurorus, does fade the Substitute, and Registeel goes for a Substitute again, but that's going to drop its HP a bit more, as that Skull does get some good damage away from that Aurorus. There is the Energy Ball, and thanks to its Moody boost, this time it's going to live. There's the Thunderbolt special defense boost, allowing it to live those attacks, and Skull is going to get rid of Aurora, so Silver tying is up at 3 apiece. As we move on into turn number 13, gets a Spit Death drop, but does get a special attack buff this time, and there is the Encore again from the Whimsicott. The Origin Pulse does miss the Octillery, but Registeel going to go for a Substitute again. There's the Ice Beam from the Octillery, so it's going to break the Whimsicott Substitute, and does get the speed boost from the Moody this time. There's the Origin Pulse, is going to land this time and takes out the Octillery as well. That is huge, and Registeel, all it can do is just, it can only Substitute, and it can't now, with it only being on 1% HP, and it is all up to Amoonguss and Registeel. There is the Ice Beam onto the Amoonguss, drops its attack a little bit, and Energy Ball is going to get rid of that Registeel, so it's Amoonguss versus the world now. There's the Giga Drain from the Amoonguss, gets a little bit of HP back, but it's not going to matter, because one more Ice Beam is going to do the trick, and there it is, and Kyogre gets the kill, and Crizzle takes the lead in this one then. And Silver changing things up this time, brings out the Kali Shadow, and Registeel going for a bit more hyper offense this time, and Crizzle makes a perfect read there potentially. It brings out the Pheromosa, and Kyogre comes out as well. Kyogre going for the Protect, the Throat Chomp being blocked by the Kali Shadow Protect, and the Registeel going straight for the Substitute then. In comes the Octillery. There's the Throat Chomp, so it at least keeps his Kali Shadow hanging around. There's the Origin Pulse. It's going to break the Registeel Sash, Registeel Substitute, but so Registeel going for the Iron Defense. And Artillery taking some good damage from that origin as well. I mean, that spread move from Kyogre still going to get some really good damage with Artillery, especially if it starts dropping the special defense. Vayne comes out from the Pheromosa though, and Thunder's going to get rid of that Artillery. So great read there from Chris and great move choice as well. That gets rid of the Artillery. And now in comes the Kali Shadow once again. Knows that Pheromosa is going to be faster, so goes for Protect, at least keep it around for number 10. There is the Origin Pulse, of course, going to miss that Kali Shadow thanks to the Protect. Red Seal just about hanging on to the body press, doing quite big damage there thanks to the Iron Defense. And Kyogre just about hanging on. Throat Chop's going to come out from the Pheromosa and gets rid of the Kali Shadow, so all of a sudden it's a 2v2, gets the Beast Boost as well, so that Pheromosa is going even faster. You know, not that it could go much faster, as now in comes the Mega Diancie, and Whimsicott going to switch in instead. So there's the Icy Wind going to drop the speed on that Mega Diancie, but not on the Red Seal. Diamond Storm though is going to take out Pheromosa, get some really good down to earth Artillery. It is a Guaberry Whimsicott, sorry, it was not Artillery. Getting tripping over my words here. Protect comes out from that Kyogre. There's the Energy Ball from the Whimsicott. It doesn't quite take out the Mega Diancie, and Diamond Storm not quite taking out the Whimsicott. The Body Press going to get the job done, and now all of a sudden it's a 2v2. Is Silver going to be able to bring this back? What's the last one? It is the Mega Swampert. Goes for the ally switch on the Mega Diancie. There's the High Horsepower. That's going to get rid of the Registeel, and Origin Pulse is going to get rid of the Mega Diancie, and Krizzle takes this one 2-0 and thus qualifies for playoffs. So congrats to Krizzle for making playoffs for a second season in a row. Commiserations to Silver. His sort of goal of making playoffs goes on for yet another week, but still in a pretty good spot, you know, on those 5 wins, but 2 losses in a row now. So Silver's got a lot to do, a lot of legwork to do in these final 2 games to make sure he makes playoffs. But now that all the games are over, let's take a quick little looky at the rankings table then and see where we're at after this week. Oops, hang on a second, guys. Where are we at? There we are, guys. We can get there eventually. As you can see, perched atop of the British Mountain League, the Inglorious Surf is now on 8-1, just potentially 1 win away from being crowned the regular season winners and going into playoffs looking very, very strong in that first seed. In second place and third is Space City PC and South Croydon Saws. Meme still just 1 game behind Aaron. You know, if he can get a win next week, potentially if Aaron loses, can just get himself in contention to win that regular season title himself. So not out of it completely, as well as Krizzle, still potentially within, you know, in with a shout, but it's going to be a lot of work. Silly then up to 4th place, so Silly flying high. That Xerneas just really doing work, and Ninjas and the Tyrant sitting there in 5th and 6th as well in our top half, and then down there in the final 2 spots of playoffs and the relegation zone then. So Oma and Jabba, the California Bastiodons and Nice Cydonia, out of the running. They are relegated officially, but these 4 in particular is where you want to watch. Newcastle Thunderous, Shadow Kings now on the same record after Dogsy got that win over the Thunderous. Neil's losing out to Aaron, drops him back down into 9th place, and Draco Swindon Rookidees with a huge win over bottom of the table, Nice Cydonia. Means they tie on record with the Scuba Squirrels on 3 and 6, but means they're both just 1 game behind the Thunderous and the Dogsy Shadow Kings. So this could go either way, guys. But let's have a look at next week's games. That is not the schedule screen. There is the schedule screen. Next week then. So you may already see a little bit of a spoiler for next week. I do apologise for that one. We'll go over that in just a little second. But Silver then. He's played Silly and Krizzle these last 2 weeks. You know, 2 teams in the top 6. Now faces first place is Aaron's Inglorious Surface. So Silver's got one hell of a mountain to climb to keep himself in the shout for playoffs. That's going to be a really tough one. But Aaron has his work cut out as well. You know, Silver's no pushover. He's in that top 6 for good reason. You know, it's Silver's got a strong lineup, so that ought to be a close game. Then the second game of next week, Swindon Rookidees taking on Shadow Kings. It is 8th versus 10th. If Draco loses this one, he is out of the running for playoffs and is officially relegated, and Dogsy will have officially made playoffs at that point. If Dogsy loses, then it goes right down to the final week to decide who makes those playoff spots. South Croydon Saws will be taking on Space City PC, so that is 2nd versus 3rd, so that ought to be a huge one. As I said, these 2 can still technically catch Aaron, so a lot on the line for this one. Still a chance to win the regular season winners title. The loser, of course, won't be able to make it, make that first place, but, you know, still a top 4 finish, top 5 finish, going to be really strong. Next up, another big battle at the bottom then, another relegation 6-pointer. You know, Oma is already down and out, but can still play spoiler here, you know, if he can take the win over the Scuba Squirtles, Neil's team, then, you know, Neil's has to win this one. If he loses, just like Draco, he is out of the running for playoffs and potentially going to be relegated. As you can see, Ninjas taking on the Knights of Cydonia. We'll see that match next week, next Monday. You can see how that one went down. And the final match of the week, it is Long Island Gummies versus Newcastle Thunderers. So Silly on an absolute tear at the minute, looking to try and secure himself a top 3 or top 4 finish. Thunderers, though, fighting for their lives down there, you know, dancing daringly with the relegation zone. So Dave needs a win just as much as Silly does in that one. So that ought to be a really close match. But guys, that is going to do it for this week of the British Pokemon League show. I hope you've all really enjoyed this week's show. We'll of course be back next week for week number 10, our penultimate week of the regular season. Same time, same place at twitch.tv/British Pokemon League. I have been your host, Matt Starr. I will see you all next Monday. Goodbye and good night. Mwah!